doesn't have meetings or Facebook Live. I think I'm going to try YouTube the next time. It looks good on YouTube.
To go live on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and share it on Facebook.
Let me see if it's live on. I don't see it. I'm live. Let's see if we are live or not. Yes, we are live. Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Women Wednesday with your host, Lady B. Bless, the People's Queen. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be here today with you guys and my guests. Trust me, it's going to be fabulous. You're going to learn a lot, especially the youth and especially the women that's into financial literacy, that's into counting the dollars, like minding your business and taking care of your assets as a woman. So definitely, let's get started. You know, it's 3 o'clock here, actually 3:02. So my guest today is none other than the fabulous Judith Fang, and I hope I'm saying that right. And she has over 20 years of experience in banking and financing. So I really wanted her to talk to us today about banking, financing, and a lot of other things that she do. I'm just going to give you a snippet of her bio and let her take it away. She's the founder of and the CEO of JFang Consulting. So she has her own consulting firm. So we will clap for her. She runs a YouTube blog. She does traveling. She's really into everything Africa, tourism, as far as showcasing the culture and the heritage of the people. And she's into youth empowerment and women empowerment. So before any ado, we're going to start. And definitely, I'm going to give the floor over to her. Let's see if I do this right, because normally I'm using a different software. So let's see if we get this right. So Judith, how are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you, Lady B, for having me. It's a pleasure being on your platform.
Thank you. We are live on Facebook today. I just gave everyone a little snippet of your bio, but go ahead and tell us a little more about yourself.
Right. So my name is Judith Fang, as Lady B told everyone, and I have been in the US for a little under 30 years, and I have been in the banking industry for the past 20 plus years. Well, I didn't necessarily start in banking. I actually did start in the hotel industry, where I was able to work from my way from ground up to general manager. One of the things that I realized when I was doing the hotel industry was I love the whole aspect of people. I love the whole hospitality industry, but I didn't think that it gave me enough latitude to see what else works around the world. And so I went on to a bunch of different discoveries on other ideas and things I could do. And that's how I ended up stumbling and ended up in the banking field. So I do love what I do today. It's opened my eyes to all what I don't know and all what we need to learn as women. So as we talk through today with Lady B, I'm going to share some tips and some perspectives on where I stand, on what I think each and every one of us as women, as family members, as youth, and as parents or as friends should be doing with their lives. Thank you.
So you're from a financial background. You mentioned that you were in the hotel industry. How did you transition?
It wasn't a direct transition from hotel to the banking. I started off as a front desk clerk, worked my way up through the management league there, ended up as a general manager of a small hotel in the Los Angeles area. When I was done with that, you got to know, I was still a little bit younger at the time. So I kind of thought, this is not where I want my life to end. There's a lot more stuff happening out there. So what else is there to do? I started exploring other fields. I tried the benefits consulting field. I tried the car rental field. I did go into insurance sales, working for an insurance company. I also did a short stint at an emergency room as a what did they call it at the time? A rep, admissions rep, where I was trying to figure out. I knew I couldn't work in hospitals, but I needed to understand what happens in hospitals. So I picked the job that was the safest in the hospital, and I worked there. Well, over time, I needed to start expanding my horizons, so I tried to see if I could go into banking. Started off at Countrywide, where I got in there first of all as a mortgage operations specialist, just little staple things, data entry, making sure that you're sorting all the loan documentation out, just basic stuff. Over time, I ended up being hired for one of our local offices, our subprime market at the time, to be a rep handling all of the calls that were getting into the operations center. So what ended up happening was, because the system was so tough for me to understand, I had to take a printout of the banking software booklet home so I could learn the system, come back and understand my work. That process actually is what gave me literally every aspect of what the banking industry entails. So it was a blessing, even though it was a little bit of a difficulty for me in the beginning, ended up being a huge blessing because I learned a lot more than I bargained for and ended up being the go-to person for literally all areas of our mortgage banking um, business.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Mm.
Okay, so now we move from banking, finance to technology, another field.
Well, technology and banking are actually linked because what I'm doing for the banking industry right now, I started off in the business area, that's for sure, but I ended up working in the banking space, in the technology space. That's because remember the system I told you I couldn't figure out? When I then was not able to figure out that system, when I studied it, it gave me not only the business side of the business, but it also gave me an insight into how the technology works for the business. So I ended up answering lots and lots of questions. And when you interact with the technology team quite often, you end up learning more about the systems than you want to. So I picked up quite a few skills in the technology space and ended up being a business analyst where I could write software design and requirements and user stories for our banking software and all the different processes that we had going on. So where I work right now, I'm literally a liaison right now between our businesses and our technology because sometimes those two areas cannot speak the same language. So I am smack dab in the middle of those two areas. I could flip either way depending on how I feel, but I have a good understanding of the technology space enough to survive in there. And the business world, we know how it should work. So that's something I'm extremely comfortable with. But as you know, we're in a changing world, an evolving world. So the technology we had back in the day is not, absolutely not the technology we have today. There's a huge
Like,
departure. There's a huge,
yeah,
huge departure from where we were 20 years ago and where we are today. So as in any business, as the business is developing, technology is also developing. So we've moved on from our old technology to the new platforms and new systems you see today.
yeah, technology changes every 6 to 8 months. Every 6 to 8 months, there's something new, there's something different, so they're improving or they're upgrading things. How did you make the transition to being an entrepreneur, starting your own consulting company, and then giving
Well,
back to the community?
it's a very interesting process. I think over time, first of all, I come from a culture, African culture, where, or actually, I shouldn't say a culture because we have a business culture as well in Africa. However, I come from a foundation where we're being taught traditional school, meaning you come out, you do the general pieces of education, you study the straight through, you go from grade school through to university, college, university, and you come out. And the idea was you're able to work for, especially in my country of origin, when you finish university, the first thing you're looking at is, will the government employ you? That is how
Yeah,
we were taught. That, or even if you were not told that specifically, if for years you've been conditioned to think of finish school, get a job, finish school, get a job, get a specific skill to go and work in a specific area, get a specific piece of knowledge so that you can function in this person's company. There's no room for you to actually sit down and think, why am I working for somebody else? Why is everything geared towards working for someone else? Again, the beauty of me being in this country and working in the banking space is not only did I gain enough knowledge around all these areas, I got to thinking, these are people who started up these businesses I work for. Why am I not able to survive on my own? Why am I not able to provide a solution, solve a problem that the world needs, and or find a niche that I can be comfortable with to serve, that way make some money off of it? Well, needless to say, I went to business school, and business school doesn't teach you that every human being needs at least seven income streams in their lives. These are skills I learned after business school. Some people are fortunate enough to know and have parents or family members and entrepreneurs and influencers in their lives who teach them about money very, very early on, like succeeding a business. If you had a family business, you would succeed it. The kids and the family would take it over. Those are some little concepts that we didn't grow up in, or at least I didn't grow up in. I know for sure there's a few families, or there's quite a few families back at home who take over their parents' businesses, but they're not taking over the parents' businesses because that was their career path. They're probably many of them take over those businesses because they didn't have the option of going to school. So school was synonymous with working for someone, while business was synonymous to not having any opportunities going to school and working for someone. See, it's a real flip side story. I wish we were taught differently. That way we would understand we grow businesses, and then we can have skilled people come and work for our businesses, as opposed to us going to school and waiting to work for someone. So those are the
Yeah.
reasons I actually turned around and decided I have got to do something different for myself. It doesn't matter how late it is or how late in the game I'm starting. The important thing is starting it and teaching everyone who's coming behind you or who's available to learn or around to learn that you do need at least 4 to 5 to 7 income streams coming into your bank account. I think there's a saying that says, if you're working, if you have only one job and you're depending only on one salary, you are one paycheck away from poverty, and in some cases, homelessness.
Yes, and that is so true. And that's why it's so important to speak to the youth, because they're not teaching them how to be financial sound in the schools. And they're teaching them how to go to school, get a degree, and then go get a job. They're not teaching them how to get a skill and to use this skill to create jobs. They're not teaching job creation. So
Correct.
I'm big on youth empowerment, and I know that you are too, very passionate about empowering the youth. So what programs have you put in place? How many youth are you working with? How are you spreading this financial banking, hotel, travel, all this knowledge to the youth?
So this is where I'm starting. As in everything, my ideas may be very big and I may want to empower every youth in the world, but I am very cognizant of the fact that I'm only one person. So what I do
Mhm.
is I start with little things. I start in the family. Start in the family by making sure I educate my own kids, my nieces, my nephews, teaching them how to discover what their passions are, teaching them how to discover what they dream of. Also, one of the things that it's a little hard to teach youth about discovering their passions and doing the extra stuff that they need to do in order to have different sources of income while still encouraging education. So one of the things I try to do with all the youth I come across, or even when I volunteer at on my job to go do financial literacy classes at different schools, or even when I go volunteer on my personal level to go teach and speak through community services in the different schools, my local schools around here. One of the things I try to tell most of the kids as well as grown ups is, while you were growing up, even or at the point where you are in your life, what is it that you like to do? There's two ways that you can always make money. What do you like to do? And you tell me what you like to do. I ask you, have you ever thought of doing it? Just go out there and start doing it. Don't abandon everything else you're doing. Just start doing it for fun. and you'll realize your people would be coming to you to do whatever it is. I'll give you an example of that scenario. I talked to my nephew last week on my show, and the reason he's such a great influencer now on an artist brand manager is because he got into some kind of little trouble at school while he was in the university, and he was being imposed a curfew. During his curfew, his friends and everybody else were out there in the clubs and doing everything they had to do, what college kids do. He couldn't because he'd gotten into trouble. So what he decided to do was listen to his music, do all the things he loved doing. And he was a Jay-Z fan, the Beyoncés, the all the rappers. He loves hip hop music. So he was being as one of his friends, who I think he stumbled on one of Wizkid in Africa, Nigeria, stumbled on one of his pieces of music. So he listened to it and he's like, oh, this is nice. This is very nice. So he started listening to it and he just kept listening to it. And he was like, you know what? This is really good. So he started a small blog, which was just, oh, who likes this kind of music? And that's how it took off. That blog or that small website or blog he started back in 2014, it blossomed up and got him more followers, more viewers. Before you knew it, he was contacted by WizKid's management team to ask him how they could use him because he was a fan of their music better than I think what the management team was doing. So in his fan club and in his promoting and enjoying his music with other people, he developed a following of over 1 million, close to 2 million people.
Wow.
And so here it was at the management team thinking, what is this guy doing that we are not doing? So even though WizKid was not into the social media aspect, because he's a shy person who's very much into his craft, right? They reached out to my nephew, and lo and behold, long story short, he's now part of their team and he's now promoting. That's just an extra source of income for him. He's getting more and more people reach out to him for management purposes and promotions. So I say that to say, when you do the things you love, you'll be amazed how much of your passion and work you put in there. And because of his work ethic, he was consistent. I mean, it's one thing to love what you love, but it's another thing to be consistent around it. So you have to make sure you're consistent in the things that you're doing. And let me make a statement. You work for 30 years, you retire, and you have a small retirement package. Why won't you work for as long as you need to work for your own business so you can get a good package as well? And this package is yours. This is not coming from somebody else. You're building your own brand. You're building your own marketing. You're building all the stuff that you do. Flip it on the other side. Let's say you don't know what your passion is. You don't know what your dream is. Everybody on this planet has something they're good at. They've probably been doing it for so long, it's like an autopilot in their system. If you can't think of what your passion is or build on it, figure out what you're already doing that's working. Monetize it. Work on it. Be consistent on it. Be patient on it. And eventually it's going to go. A lot of the times, what happens with most of us, and why many of us as adults, especially African adults, have not been able to make it or are still struggling to make it, is because we want to be perfect from day one. No. Don't try to be perfect from day one. Put in the first step. Take the first action. Learn from it. Make that mistake. Get the experience you need. Redo it the next day. Fail again. You have only one follower. If you personally, when I started, I didn't even know if anybody was looking at me. Now I'm getting to the point where people are calling me to ask me if they can get on my show every Sunday. I started not too long ago, and I have a backlog into January of next year. It's a blessing to be that. I can't stop now because not only is the craft that I'm building, I'm not good at it yet, I'm not that great at it, but I'm making sure that I learned something from the one I did last time, fix that mistake, hone it some more, and continue. That's just one side of my income. And then you have to go find another product that you can do, build on it, to do whatever skill you have in you. You have enough time during the day to invest in yourself. You're already investing 8 to 10 hours for the most part in some other person's business. What would it cost you to invest 1 to 2 hours in your own business every day?
Yes, yes. And that makes sense. And we know the largest population we have right now is the youth. Now,
Yes.
if you have the audience of all of the youth, what are the two main points that you want to get home to them?
The two main points that I would absolutely tell them is they already know what they need to succeed. That means they're walking, breathing, talking, they're eating, they know what they need on a daily basis. Go out there and get it.
Mm.
If you're hungry and you have no food, have you thought about going to figure out who would lease you, or can you clean a car for some money? You clean the first car for some money. You walk into the next neighborhood the next day, you clean another car for some money. Or you've gotten to a certain level at school. Are you tutoring any other kids? What do you know? Are you tutoring? You already have some level of skill or talent that you are not using. You're waiting for somebody else to come and tell you how to do it. I'll take my daughter, for example. She's multi-talented, but she's probably waiting for me to tell her, go and sell this, go and sell that. I can't tell her to do that. She's got to figure out which aspect or which talent she wants to build on and succeed in. Because no matter how much I tell her, if she is not passionate about it, or she doesn't like it, or she doesn't want to do it, I can't make her do it. She's got to want to do it. What kind of a life do you want to live? The life you say you want to live, what step have you taken today to build towards that?
Yes. And I think a lot of youth have a mentality that, and they want it quick. They want it quick. They want the quick life. They want the quick return, but we have to work for it. You know, I've been working. I've been working for myself for over 20 years. You know, and I'm still not a millionaire, but I'm there. I'm getting there closer and closer every day. So it's job creation. We have to teach them how to be creative, and just
And
like you
build,
say, you have
right.
to be there and get it.
And they have
Hmm.
to build a work ethic. A work ethic meaning get up every day at a consistent time. Do the same things over and over and over again until you cannot do it anymore. You have to keep doing it every day. You can't do it the first month and say, oh, I've had enough, I'm tired. No, every day. When you took your first step, you fell. You woke up and you started going. You fell again. We didn't help you out. You woke up and you keep going. That's life. Until the day you've pulled your last breath, there is so much life to live, and you need to be able to support yourself through that last day.
Yes, so no one is going to support you. And let's get to the topic of women empowerment and financial literacy for women. And this is a hot topic that's going around right now because a lot of women are realizing that they need to have financial stability, even if they are married. Even if
Mhm.
they're married, a marriage, they have to be financially stable. So, how do you do? What programs do you have in your company that deals with women empowerment and financial literacy?
The truth is, if you look at it all around the globe, women have really been the people, whether married or not married, that sustain families. There's a few men, obviously, who do the right things all the time, but for the most part, you and I can definitely attest to that. In our culture, even in this culture, it's the woman who takes care of the everyday needs. Because you know what your child needs. You know what you need as a woman. We know our needs. We know that it takes money to sustain ourselves from one day to the next. However, when we women, we are too shy about the things. We are always in an emotional status where we do not want to jeopardize one thing. So in not jeopardizing our marriage or in not jeopardizing our kids because you don't want them to be emotional, oh, I don't want them to think I'm bossy, or I don't want my kids to see me going through this, or how much more will you take? And when will you discover that the more you shy out about the responsibilities that you have as the primary manager of your home, yourself, your family, you are actually depriving the rest of your family from all the talent that you have. Even if, again, in marriage, I want to use the case of marriage because if you're a single woman, you're obviously doing everything for yourself. I just would advise that you look at all the source of incomes that you're getting and make sure you're maximizing on all your skills, talents, and opportunities. However, for couples, whatever relationship you have, it doesn't stop your skill or talent. A couple might decide, let one person stay at home and do a certain things. But if there's no plan, there's always a goal and there's always a why they're doing what they're doing at a particular time. So you can't just be married and then your husband decides, oh, stay home and take care of the kids and everything, and that's it. No, you guys have to sit down, discuss it, and say, okay, fine. If I give birth, I'm going to be able to, I think for our family, we want to be able to have one parent stay home, take care of the family for maybe the first 2-3 years or up to 5 years, depending on what your family goals are. Make those family goals solid. That way, at any given time, even though you're the home and caretaker, you can develop yourself in areas such that when you have to get back into the job market or into the business world, you are still skilled. Many of the things you do at home, managing the house finances, the budget, all of that stuff, they require your attention, consistency, and all that. Use the same skills to do something else. So if you find yourself going, there's going to be scenarios where you probably plan to stay home for about 5 years. And then due to a medical ailment, due to some condition, somebody ended up, that stay became longer. Then at that point, guess what? As a husband, as a husband and as a wife and as a family, you all have to sit again at the table and discuss another plan, modify the plan you have, scale it up, scale it down, make some adjustments in your budget, do whatever you need to do. But if one person is the source of income for a family of more than one, that's a huge problem because one person is already not enough source of income for one person.
Especially in these days and times, they need that second income coming in. So it's 30 hour, and definitely want to say hi to everyone that got locked in and tuned in on the Facebook Live. I see you guys, and I appreciate all the comments and the word of motivation. Amit said word of motivation. So definitely they're listening and they are learning. And thank you guys for watching. So we're going to move on to the fun subject, travel.
Yes, that's the best part. That's the best part. I encourage anyone who's not into traveling. Figure out what you love, where you want to go, figure out the things you like to do, find a location. I know travel is not this is not definitely not a travel moment, but this is definitely the time to look up all the areas, all the kind of fun things you want to do. However, if you cannot travel because you're tight financially, you want to look at the areas or where you may want to visit and then come back to me, contact me so I can give you ideas, tips, and even help you, teach you how you can make it to that travel destination you're thinking about. I am I'm actually working on this whole travel and COVID thing is open again for business. I am working on getting African youth, both of the diaspora born here, both of the diaspora that came in here at early ages, and those that are Black and African Americans or from other African descent countries. I am ensuring that I organize weekly, like a week to 2 week trips for them, cultural, educational, and touristic trips for them, where we could go to countries like South Africa, Botswana, Tanzania. We'll do Ethiopia. We'll do Egypt. So I will take about 10 to 15 kids at a time, and then we'll just make sure that we go and have fun. I chaperone those trips. I book the trips for you. And if you want to learn how, you can also contact me. I'll teach you how to do it and walk you through it. I want to get as many youth involved in travel as much as possible. These are the people who are going to showcase Africa. These are the people who are going to showcase the world and all the beauty there is in it. We're in a global world. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't have fun hopping to China. Is not so popular nowadays because of Wuhan, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be popping from here to China or from here to Indonesia, or they should be popping from Indonesia and partnering with schools in Kumasi, Ghana, or partnering with schools in Douala and Yaoundé and Bamenda, or in Kigali. There's so much fun stuff and collaboration that can happen, and we're depriving ourselves. When are you going to do? Life is meant to be lived. However, we have to live it sensibly by making sure we do our work. Put in your time, put in your patience, put in your skill and talent, build on it, have all these sources of income, and then you can have everything on autopilot while you go out there and explore the world. Create jobs. Do some catering, painting, arts, go visit some museums. So there's so much to do for anyone to sit and say, I don't know what to do.
Right. And when you let people know it's not expensive, a lot of people think traveling is
no. Travel is not, just like everything else, travel is not expensive. It's expensive when you don't want to work, that's for sure. If you expect something to come to you, it's going to be expensive. But if you're working and doing what you need to do, sometimes you travel for free because you put in so much work, your work pays for itself. So anyone who wants to learn how to get into the travel industry, please see me. But at the same time, I want to also call out something else. Along with travel, I'm into the health business. I also do own a line of business that makes sure it takes, especially during this COVID time, we want to make sure that whatever we do, the first health or the first thing about wealth is your health. Well, after life though. After life and your creator and your gratitude towards that. If you don't have the health, you have nothing. Because if you're not there to work, to do what you need to do, and you don't have the mindset, your brain is not right, your body is not right, you can't move, you're fatigued. No. You have unknown conditions, things that may knock you out anytime. No. So take care of the basic needs. And that's why they always say most people who make it, look up most billionaires or millionaires, look up their schedules, look up their lifestyles. They all get up from bed within the time frame of 4 a.m. and 6 or 7 a.m. By the time they're at 7 a.m., most of them have worked out, had all their work meetings, done their meditation, done their exercise, done their prayer, whatever they need to do, had a couple of sent out emails, checked their stocks, whatever it is, and then now they come out to the rest of the world to come do their second part of the day's job, and we were still sleeping. I'm okay with you being a night person, but are you staying up late at night because you're working, or are you staying up late at night because you're watching a video or a movie, or are you playing a video game with a friend? How about you figuring out how to create a new video game for other people to play? And when you're playing a video game, play your own video game.
Yes, yes. And this is what we have to teach the youth. Waste time. We all have the same 24 hours. It's what you do with those 24 hours that matters.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says this thing, and I really like it when he says it. Arnold Schwarzenegger says we all have 24 hours. You sleep 6 hours, and then he'll go. Some people will tell you they sleep 8. What he says is just sleep faster, because he sleeps 6 hours. I don't know. Imagine the concept. How do you sleep faster? But the point being, when you have to work, I encourage sleep. But if you're sleeping when you haven't put in the time, the work, anything in there, what are you sleeping on about?
Right. Take a nap. Take a nap.
Sleep is beautiful when you're resting from work. But sleep is not so great when you've not put in any work during the day.
Right. Yeah. And you're not going to make it. You're not going to get ahead. And you're just going to be a complainer. Everything will be a complaint, because you're not putting in the work. You're not putting in the time. You're not putting in the effort.
Nobody's listening.
The healthcare that you speak about, can I give a little more information on the health products?
Yes. So I work with a firm, and anyone who would like to reach me out on that, I work with a health product. I'll tell you exactly what that does. It's this. I have never worked with a business or a product that speaks for itself more than you can even say for it. It restores and regenerates your body. You just require the minimum 30 or however exercise you do. You just require your regular movement, have a healthy body. It rebuilds all your your systems. It's actually gotten many people off natural products that have actually gotten many people off their meds, off their because they did the right thing. And then they have it's nitric oxide. So I have it on my website. So I think it's actually attached on my Facebook website if they want to follow me there. I have it on my website on Facebook. I also have it on my Instagram. So they can follow me at Silver Lining with Judith. And then they can also see it on my Facebook website where it's Mbong Forsi. And I think you'll put that on there or publish it when they have it.
Okay, most wonderful. The website where the healthcare is available, it's also on your page, right? Silver Lining with
Yes.
Judith.
Correct.
And that's Instagram, and also she does a YouTube channel entitled the same name. So, and she blogs. I don't know when she sleeps, because I think I counted at least 20 streams of income right now.
Well, they're not that many, but it's just because they're all related and they're fun stuff to do. But again, remember, I'm telling you, I learned all of this later in life. It's to tell everyone else that even after business school, I was not as knowledgeable. So these are things that I learned from people like you, people who are out there doing this and it's working. They say in life, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. When you see something that works, emulate it. Emulate
Exactly.
it. The only thing you can do is just work, be persistent, be patient, be consistent. But you've got to do some work and don't hope to be perfect.
Copy and paste mentality. Don't reinvent the wheel. The wheel
And
has already been.
not only that, and when you copy and paste, give credit to where you copied from. Because one of the things that we struggle with in life, if you don't share information and credit the person you got the information from, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because you could have learned more. You can teach with referrals. You would be seen you have integrity in how you work. I've made a couple of quotes on here, even if I did not quote them directly. I have to make sure that I tell you where I got it from. These are not my original ideas, most of them. These are ideas that other people shared with me that work. And so I'm doing what I have to do. I duplicate the process and I share it. Replicate, duplicate, replicate, duplicate. You cannot lose on a winning practice.
Right. Reputation. And people say practice makes perfect. No, practice gets the work done. You be perfect.
That is true.
Get it done. Yes. But you are also involved with building the world's first Black credit union, something in the Hebrew Credit Union. I've heard some buzzword about it. And you're part of the deputy that's facilitating the launching of that.
Right. So I make up the credit union you're talking about is called the Proposed Hebrew Federal Credit Union. It's going to be the first credit union for Blacks that is nationwide, Africans and Black nationwide. We are in our last phases of approval, and we are also still accepting members. And so we put out surveys to ensure that we can figure out where members would be, our potential members would be. The reason we send out these surveys, and if you see one coming your way, if you could please share, is because we want to know where our customers are. We want to know where the need is and what kind of products and services they would like in those areas, such that we would be able to open up a brick and mortar bank or credit union in their vicinity if there's quite enough members in that area, or we can still make available ATMs for the customers for their use. So we keep sending out surveys so that we can build up on our membership and so that we can put the word out there. And I'll give you the reason why we do this. So you know what the atmosphere is in the country today. We've struggled through, without going into the depth and or without going to the systemic aspect of it, without going into why, or without feeling some kind of angst or anger towards what's going on right now, my name's that silver lining says, out of everything that's negative, you always have to look for the silver lining in there. That is why I say the things I say. So I would rather not focus too much on the issues that we're facing. We'll deal with it with the appropriate people, but we also have to start taking measures so that we don't keep finding ourselves in the same position. So, and the reason I say that is because we don't get enough loans. We don't get opportunities for businesses. We don't get the same opportunities that everyone else would get at the bank. Interest rates for us are skyrocketing through the roof. We're given the most predatory loans because we can't find jobs. We're not generating enough income. We are not credible to any banks. We are not what they want. When I say we, I mean we of African descent, without looking at we of blacks, anyone who is a non-white person, we don't get the same opportunities. The other thing too is our communities, for some reason, we haven't yet mastered how to keep money within our community. So money stays in other communities, other white and non-white communities, a lot longer than money stays in our community. When we have something, the first thing we do is rush to go buy from something else. We're a lot more consumers than we are people who build and generate wealth. Again, we talked about the whole wealth generation, the whole empowerment, sources of income. So this credit union is absolutely going to give the opportunity for our community, youth, women, business makers, students, families to thrive, have a bank or that's their own, where they can take small loans to accomplish the opportunities they seek in their lives. And we're not only giving this, creating this bank to offer loans and an opportunity for people to do whatever they want to do. We are really opening up the bank to teach this financial literacy to our community members who are lacking, because that's not taught in schools right now. We're creating a facility, we're creating a business and a process and an establishment that's going to ensure that when our kids are growing up, they understand the first thing about money. A student who is going to school would need to know why they're going to school, what they want to do, if they need to do a side income, if they don't have great credit. We will work with them to build that credit. It doesn't mean that we're just going to give money to everybody who comes through the door. Yes, everybody's welcome if you meet the qualifications as a credit union member. However, we will work with you if you're not in such a good credit situation. We will work with you. Once we work with you, we build your financial literacy, we build your financial power, and then we can offer you loans. That way, we're not only empowering you as a person, we're also educating the community and keeping money within ourselves. And we can now start having businesses that we can be proud of. This is what goes on every day in every other community, but for some reason, we are not able to manage our own. We shouldn't have, no offense to anyone who is not of the Black or the African American race, but we shouldn't have Asians selling us hair we put on our heads in our own neighborhoods, and we are buying from them. I mean, kudos to them. Wherever you go, you have Chinatown, you have the Jewish community, you have all of those people doing good things for themselves. It's not that they don't like other communities. It's just that they love their community and they want to build their community. So we have to learn the same ethics, the same community ethics. We have to build and collaborate. We have to grow our markets. We have to have integrity amongst ourselves. We have to believe each other. We have to educate in each other. We have to trust each other. Trust each other. And it's okay to have issues and disputes, but we also have to build up mechanisms and systems that would help us relate and resolve those issues. Governance processes that would work for us here. I should be able to work with you, a Black person in the US, in the same manner as if I found myself somewhere in Botswana dealing with another Black person there. We should have the same level of confidence and same level of integrity, where I don't have to worry that my money will never go anywhere. You see what I mean? So that's the goal of building, of creating this credit union, is to empower our community so that they can become the princes and kings that princes, kings and queens that they've always been, but are the last ones to recognize that.
Yes, we really are. How many states are the credit union in right now?
We have, for right now, we have actually launched in, at least I would say, we have feedback from over 37 states. So again, the survey, yes, so the survey, which I would make sure you have a link to, we are still accepting members. We are still hoping that everyone could fill out that survey so we can know who you are, reach out to you when the time comes, and then we can work and do business together. So I am the deputy state chair for North Carolina. We do have chairs at state level, at county levels, and city levels where our memberships are growing.
Madam Deputy. Funny thing, I met Judith. You remember how we met?
Let me think. I don't know. I forgot to.
International House.
Yes. That's where we met when Dr. Arikana showed up. Yes.
No.
Not that one?
No, the International House. When we went to the women, the farms, the women from Africa that came to.
Yes. Now I remember. That's where I met you. You're right. Oh my God. I've been to so many of those things. I can't even remember which one.
And then the second time was at Johnson C. Smith.
Yes, for Ebong, yes.
And then the third time was in LA.
Yes, the third time was in LA when I was doing the keynote speech at the AfriFamu.
And I received the award. So definitely how your lives cross, and you never know the person, you never know their life. So it's really good that we as African people get together and see where our skills lie. Because you may have financial skills, and I'm not a numbers person. I'm not into math. I'm not into finance.
Neither am I.
That you have that I could benefit from. And I do everything, media, marketing, and stuff like that. So we really need to get together and start collaborating.
Absolutely. And that is what my platform is all about. So when I meet on Sundays, and also on my YouTube channel, when I meet every Sunday at 1:00, it is because I will be bringing to you someone who's a great influencer, someone who's pretty good at what they're doing. And the reason for bringing those people on there is to ensure that we can connect them to the right, we can connect the audience or the listeners or everyone interested with that person. And even if they can't help you in everything that you're seeking, they will direct you and show you the path to someone who might be able to help you. The key to all of what I'm trying to do is to ensure that we collaborate, we network, we partner with each other. There's many of us out there. You're doing your thing, which is great. Thank you for the platform. But you would not know, nobody would know what I do if I didn't come onto your platform. And that's because I'm partnering with you. I'm networking with you to bring my services to you. However, those people to come onto my platform so that they can see all the everyday great leaders, influencers who are making a difference in everything they're doing. So I'm not only helping them expand on their brand and promoting them, I'm actually getting more and more people to build their own brands using the help and the tips that they get from the guests that I have on my show. And sometimes What I say on the show may not be applicable to you, but you will know someone who needs that information and you will drag them to the show or you will take the information to them. So I encourage each and every one of us not to overlook anything that any one of us is doing, not to overlook it. You may be very good at what you're doing. Even if it's not for you, pass the information on to somebody else. Don't ignore. As Africans, we ignore things a lot, especially when it doesn't concern us. Let's make it let's make it an intentional effort. Let's make it an intentional act every time you see information that's useful to pass it on. We spend so much time passing on information that's not helpful to us. I think we should just use the same amount of energy to pass information that is going to really lift somebody up on that day, somebody up in their business, promote somebody else, and even the person looking at it will be a better person just because they got that information on that day.
Yes, and most definitely. I thank you for that. I thank you for coming on and she's very busy, extremely busy. So I'm very honored, and I really appreciate you giving me this time to come on to speak to, my audience. And I really appreciate that Judith and I are part of Padua, which is the Pan-African Diaspora Women Association, and she's one of the leads in Padua. So just spend a couple minutes talking about Padua.
So Padua is the Pan-African Diaspora Women's Association, and the main branch of it is out of Washington, D.C. It's part of the African Union organization. So they open up in 5 different regions across the United States: Central, West, North, South, and East. So I make up part of the East, I think we're part of the South. I make up part of the South, and I am the deputy. I am the leader of the Carolinas. So I know there's a branch in Georgia, Atlanta, and they also run the same way we do. Literally, everything I talked about tonight is what Padua represents. So they have the Padua, they have the Padma, which is for the men, and then they have the Padia, which is for the youth. So the goal is to ensure that as Africans, we are working collectively, communally to build ourselves up in every skill and environment and process that's out there. Agrotechnology, finance, insurance, business, healthcare, all the areas, social work, mental, psychology, you name it, every area, travel and tourism, so everything that we need as human beings. That's what the Padua represents. They put out programs where if there's conventions to go, expositions to attend, people can go and showcase their businesses. If there's some trainings to do, they can offer free and or paid trainings for those who would need it. And if there's youth training that is needed, whatever country, also NGOs are also encouraged. So whatever we need to do as a society, as a community, as women to leaders, connect, partner, grow, empower, that is all what Padua represents. And it's fun to have worked with a bunch of women, because when you come together in some of the sessions, you meet some outstanding women you never knew. I mean, you may be walking around and just smiling at someone and you don't know that's the person who's going to change your life. So yes. I just ask and I plead with everyone to always keep an open mind. And many of us as Africans are very, very shy. Try to go out of your way, out of your norm to say hello to somebody. Sometimes just saying hello to somebody might change that person's day, and you might actually lift them up in ways you've never understood. And they might be going through some tough things. Again, that's part of why we are who we are. We have to make sure that we're living as a community, growing as a community, and helping each other.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I'm so grateful, and I've learned so much of what you do. And I definitely will be getting with you on that health product.
You should.
COVID-19 and the weight gain.
It changed my life. And I'm
Wow.
not saying it because there's a lot of things out there. It's very difficult to go out there. You're overwhelmed because there's so much to pick from. Everybody says theirs is better. Everybody says theirs is better. I'm a Thomas. I like to see things before I actually talk about them. So if I didn't try this one, I won't be talking about it. It is a difference maker. It's a game changer in the business. So I would encourage anyone who is having any kind of trouble, if you want, get your mind right. Contact me on any of my pages, DM me, do what you have to do to get in touch with me, and I will walk you through it.
What we're going to do, today is July 8th, right?
Yes.
So August, September. September 8th, we're going to come back so people see my results.
Absolutely.
So let's give ourselves 60 days. I'll try it for 60 days.
It's a deal.
We got it. Well, we're about to wrap up. Thanks everyone for looking at my Facebook Live. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. I see you. Judith, thank you. I'll give you a new name, Judy. Thank you so much.
you know how I feel about Judy, right?
We're Caribbean. We give nicknames for everybody. Everybody else. You're around Caribbean. They never use your right name.
I know.
They will pick a name for you. You're like, that's not my name. But definitely, Judith, I appreciate this time and everyone that got it locked in. Next week we have another fabulous Women Wednesday. I'm trying to get the Men Mondays together, men. So definitely we're working on that. Any last words? You want to give some websites? You want to give some YouTubes out?
Absolutely. So for anyone watching me, please, I'll have what I call the call of action. I would expect everyone to at least go ahead and contact me on Instagram. I'm at Silver Lining with Judith. On Twitter, you can see me at Mbongforsi. It's MBONGFORSIH. On Facebook, you can reach out to me at Mbongforsi as well, or Judith Fang. You type whichever name would come up. And then I would expect all of you to reach out to me if you need to travel. They're about to loosen up the restrictions for travel. Borders are beginning to open up. So if you want to get ahead on your travel game for 2021 or for later on this year, reach out to me. I will show you how to travel as you want to, and I will show you how to make a living out of travel. Same thing with your health. Come to me and I'll show you how to get your health right with these great products that like I said, they speak for themselves. I don't have to do the talking for it. And I'll tell you how to go back and tell people about what you're doing. So reach out to me. And Lady B, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for spending this hour with us today. I appreciate it. And thank you guys. And we're going to go ahead and log off. We really appreciate everyone. The show will repeat. I'm going to upload it so you guys, whoever missed it, you could see it again. Judith, thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Everyone, stay.